Of course, this is Julio Escobar from Radioacktiva in Bogota, Colombia.
Hi, Julio. How are you?
Mr. Cumberbatch, how are you?
Very
Very,
nice.
very happy to talk to you.
Likewise.
Well, we have little time, so I'm just going to get into
Yeah,
it.
yeah, dive in.
What has changed in Doctor Strange since his first MCU movie to this upcoming one? How do we find him?
A lot and not an awful lot. I mean, that's what he comes up against in this film in a way. Yes, he's not a neurosurgeon. He's now a superhero doing work for a greater good rather than his own career. But he's also driven by the same things that are both his greatest strengths, but often, as in this film, sometimes his greatest weaknesses in terms of his ego and his will. So you see how that's challenged and shaken up through the multiverse and through all the obstacles he faces in that multiple realm. And yeah, and yet there are, the standards of him, the wit, the tenacity, the frailty of him as a human being. He's still learning. And I think until now, especially in the recent iterations, he's been sort of omnipotent, omnipresent, and everything. Not Omnicron, thank God. But he's kind of, he definitely comes up against his shortcomings in this film. So it's definitely an evolutionary step for the character.
Okay, I've heard that you prepared yourself with comic books for the first movie. Did you do the same thing for the Multiverse of Madness?
A little, yeah. I mean, Richie Palmer, who is pretty much still a child, even though he's one of the producers, he is really into the comic lore. So we kind of dug in together, especially to come up with things you haven't seen Strange do that he does in the comics. And there's a fantastic wealth of material to sort of pull from there. But yeah, always. These things began on the page from the imagination and brilliance of Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. So yeah, I'm all about that, and the more recent iterations of Doctor Strange as well. It's how this whole cinematic universe is built.
Okay. A very little ago, we discovered that Mordo introduced Doctor Strange to the Illuminati.
Yeah.
Which role will they play in the movie? Is there anything? I know you can say little about it since the movie hasn't premiered yet, but anything you could give us?
No.
Okay, I get it. What can you tell us about the inclusion of the character of America Chavez in the MCU especially or in the movie? It seems like a very important thing.
She's a very feisty comic book character, and it's just great to have an inclusion of an LGBTQ plus character to represent in this way is important, and sadly, seemingly doubly important considering the news that certain countries who are intolerant towards homosexuality, well, intolerant is a very weak word, who are prohibitive, who endanger the lives of, who arrest, who detain, torture, and sometimes kill people for their sexuality, are banning this film. So it is not tokenism. This is something that we urgently need to keep promoting in our culture. And the news that was happening in Saudi Arabia just makes that all the more pertinent. And in the shape of Sochi, fantastic new actress, and really just sort of finding her feet as this character in this version. I'm sure there's a lot more to come for her, but she's incredibly powerful. It's not just about how she identifies sexually, it's about who she is within the MCU and the multiverse, a key figure, I think.
I absolutely love the fact that she is in the multiverse. She is in the MCU now. I just love she's a part of it. For us in Latin America, it's huge. Just the idea of
exactly. And well, you said the thing that I didn't say, which is obviously she's a Latin character, and I think that's going to be explored a little bit more in this. You meet her as she is. There's not too much sort of going into it. It's a very crowded film. There's a lot going on. It is called the multiverse, so even my character development is like, it's there, but it's a lot, which I think is fantastic, and everything that has built to this moment in the sort of amazing chain-linked thing that is the MCU. So there'll be much more of her to come, I'm sure of it, and I'm very excited for that, for her and for Latin America and for everything she represents.
And I'm really looking forward to it. They just asked me in the chat to wrap it up.
Okay.
Once again, thank you very much, Mr. Cumberbatch, for being with us in Radioacktiva. It's a great pleasure.
Nice to meet you.
Bye-bye.